There's a familiarity I have with drawings that I don't have with any other medium I've sort of dabbled in. It's almost like there's a reflex, and I think that comes from just doing it for so long that I can like trust my muscle memory with it and that kind of stuff. It has a very harsh editing process, and there's basically not one, and I quite like that. If I couldn't draw again, that could be quite extreme. Because the only way that could really happen is if like I'm in a horrific accident and I'm like limbless. If that's the case, smother me with a pillow, call it a day. I mean, what am I doing? But I don't think other people could have an influence on whether I could draw or not. My name's George Jackson. I'm 27 and I'm an artist down at the Hotwalls in Portsmouth. I grew up quite rurally, so there wasn't a lot of like distractions or entertainment going on, so drawing was like a very affordable and accessible thing to do. I remember there was somebody who made a comment about it's a trivial thing, but it's always stayed with me, is that I use a quill, and that's quite sort of a high-class utensil to use. And how can I sort of depict lower working-class people using that kind of stuff that's usually associated with, like, say, literature and people who are educated can read. And I understand the intention, that kind of stuff, but also, like, at the time, you know, it's all I could afford to do. Paint's actually very expensive. When I moved here, I was thinking, well, okay, I don't really have the budget to invest in much. I'm literally around the corner from a stony beach. It's kind of the bread and butter of this place. Everyone sort of comes for the stones, and then they're like, oh, and you also have these drawings. It's like, yeah, I do other stuff too. It'd be nice if it was in some kind of publication. I'd like to do more community stuff like that mural I did. Or maybe I'll just draw and draw and draw, and the piles will get so high that one day I'll just be found smothered underneath them all, and that's sort of it, you know, who knows. It's not particularly beautiful or that kind of stuff, but there's a tone that's very honest, and I think it sort of highlight what's going on now in a very specific way. I wouldn't trust people that are apolitical in what they make. I think everything's political. I think it's the cliche thing of the canary in the coal mine kind of thing, is that I think creative people are maybe their defining characteristic is that they're perceptive and quite sensitive, so they sort of see things before everybody else does, and then they have the ability to sort of visualize that as sort of a forewarning of like, this is going to happen if we're not careful, or this is going to happen if we do the right thing. But I think there has to be some sort of like mirror that you put up for everybody else to sort of see. I'd like to believe there's a class undertone down to how they dress, what they indulge in. There's a lot of scenes with like housing and violence and drinking. I'd like people to find familiarity in the characters and not necessarily be like put off by them, but maybe to give them time to understand the feeling of what the drawing is or the people I'm trying to represent. Sometimes I look at them and I think, is it like a premonition maybe? Like, will fear sort of dictate who I'll become? And I end up sort of a bit of a raging, bold, angry man. I don't know. I think I'm comfortable with the darker parts of me. Like, I can sit with them quite well. So maybe that's why I'm able to sort of draw that sort of tone. It's difficult not to go through the art world without maybe developing a bit of a chip on your shoulder, because the arts is very fun if you've got a lot of time and a lot of money. I always talk about with people here and in the past is a question of sacrifice, really. What are you willing to give up for something that you're really engaged with, you know? And there's no right or wrong answer. It all depends on the person, what they are, and for me, I'm probably a bit extreme. I moved to Portsmouth and there's no family here, no friends, and that was a conscious decision. There's something quite nice about having a space where it's private and I can lock it. I think it makes it hard for me to genuinely connect with people. Yeah. So like, I don't feel lonely. I'm a bit hyper independent in that way. And it's like an obscure responsibility that I think people, in my experience, have found hard to sort of be comfortable with, like coexisting with. It's like this third person. I think this whole idea of the self-tortured artist is a bit of a cliche and a bit unnecessary. It's great to feel things and to channel that in it, but for me anyway, making things should be an antidote to those feelings, not the reason they exist.